about now?
Can still hear you, and we're live again. Let's see if we've improved what we got going on here. So, Chad, if you could be kind enough to let me know if there's been any improvements. Can you hear me? Can you hear Nuance?
Hello? What up?
Let's see. I think we should be good though. I'm not hearing myself, which is a nice change of pace. All our levels look good. Okay, so you're mono on the left. Thick.
I'm telling you, it's me. I am a gremlin. Every time I try to run my game on Twitch, every time we sit down to record, there's always tech issues. I exude a chaos field.
You got chaotic tech energy. I like it. You know what?
Big chaotic tech energy.
Okay, no, we're working now. It sounds like I still may be mono on the left. I'll see about fixing that for the VOD. But for the most part, as long as you can hear us, that should be good enough for today. So, hello everybody. Thank you for your patience as we get off to as graceful a start as I usually have. And don't feel bad, Nuance. This is my trademark. This ain't on you. So again, thank you all for joining us. I am beyond excited today. I can't even tell you how jazzed I am because I just listened to the season finale of Fast Times at D&D High, and it's really, really, really good. And I get to talk to one of the stars. So with that, I'm gonna have you introduce yourself before I vibrate out of my chair. I'm just buzzing with energy.
Oh god, I'm always really bad at this. You think by now it'd be okay, but hi, I'm Nuance. You can find me on Twitter at Shadowraven. At Shadowraven, there's no .com, I don't even know why. At Shadowraven, RAVYN, where I will talk about TTRPGs and race politics in America and intersectional femininity and disability rights and all that kind of stuff. You can also hear our podcast, Fast Times at D&D High, at Fast Times D&D, also on Twitter, where I play Suri, a Awanti cleric. She is very out of type for me, as she is a sweet tiny cinnamon roll, and I am not, and generally don't play that. I was also just on a podcast, This Is Why We're Like This, where I actually talked about the 1993 miniseries Alex Haley's Queen, and about how it was seeing a mixed race girl in a show about politics and how that affected tiny Nuance, and mind blown. I'm also here on Twitch at Booksome Wench. Every other Thursday I stream Dungeons and Drakinis, my 5th ed Pokemon homebrew. It is a ridiculous game. I pants the whole thing. It's just nonsense nonstop. It's great fun. Hi, so glad to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you very much for saying yes and coming here. I love Suri so much. Just the aspect of the disappointed parents thing, just immediately I latched on. That's kind of my brand. So, but so one of the things that I like to do on this show is to just kind of break down the characters that you've played, and when we get to the portion where we do our one shot, we kind of go through what your process for character creation is. But and so with that kind of thought in mind, I'm very curious how you came upon making Suri. How did they he's a sweet cinnamon roll, you say you're not. How did you become the cinnamon roll?
So before Fast Times at D&D High was a podcast, it started out as I think one of the first games that Sephi actually ran, and I was in that one too. And honestly, my first thought was just what don't I play? I've been playing D&D sense second ed, AD&D second ed THACO, that whole nonsense, and haven't stopped. And I also LARP. That's how Sephi and I met. So I've played a lot of characters over the years. So I'm like, what don't I play? Well, I don't play a cleric because, I'm a heathen. Why? All right, I'll try a cleric. Sure. And I'm like, well, what else don't I play? I don't play sweethearts like ever. I'm always there like, either a warlock or a bard or stab you in the back rogue. What if I play like just a genuinely sweet person? And it was broached. It's like you're in high school, everything like that. So I stole bits of me, like Suri and her whole fan fiction. That was Tiny Nuance, and just kind of built this girl who I don't have the disappointed family parents trope. I'm really, really super lucky in that. I have a great relationship with both my mom and my dad. But
Rub it
that
in.
doesn't mean I don't
kidding.
have family trauma. But I do. I have family trauma because family.
Yeah.
So what I wanted was a way to kind of reach in and get some of that trauma in a slightly different lens than actually happened to me. So there's that removed, so I can still be very conscious in how I play her, but also still find something like genuine and authentic in how I did. So I broached, what if there's this tiny girl who just wants to do good and wants to be a good person, but her whole family is just like, no, there is something about you that we don't like and will never approve of. And then trying to, how do you deal with that? How do you move beyond that?
See, I've got to say, like, one of the things that I truly do appreciate about Fast Time is the personal lives of the characters are as present as like the adventure part of it, and see, like when like you feel the disappointment. Like Sephi is fantastic at playing your parents, and it's two different brands of disappointment coming at you very sharply. There's like the aggro dad that's just like, no, you fucking suck. And then there's like the mom that's just like very like coy and like slithery with it. And like you're getting like such negative reinforcement, yet this character remains such a steadfast sweetheart. And I can't tell you like how refreshing and amazing that is. So my question beyond the gushing at this point is like, did you work to develop what the parents would be like with Sephi, or did Sephi just bring that? Because the parents' introduction hit hard. Like,
I'm not gonna lie. So Sephi, when you play in a Sephi campaign, the first thing she does is send out like this whole questionnaire for your backstory and everything like that, trying to find out more. Like, so I explained that that Suri's mom is a lawyer in lawful evil, and then her dad works in like mutual funds and also kind of lawful evil. So like I gave some backstory. I explained like I gave the basics, what her brother is like, but then she comes in with just this hard hitting from both sides, and I was not prepared, and we all kind of had to stop, and I'm like, I'm fine. This is okay.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it hit hard. Even I was just like, damn.
Yeah. No, it was brutal to my emotions. And around our circles, I am the feels terrorist, and so Sephi just like walked in and was like, "Oh, are you now? Well, how you like this now?" And I'm like, this is fine. I'm super fine with all of this.
I would just say, I was not fine with it in your stead. Like, I was just like, cut the cameras. This is ridiculous. The other thing that I truly love about this game is that And I promise not all the questions are going to be about Fast Time, I promise, but I'm just like, I'm on a buzz. I just
I'm super excited. You do you, baby.
the the party makeup, there's each one of these people is so fundamentally different. Like, you would think that it would be a struggle to get, like, for Hudson. Like, I love Hudson. Like, just.
I love Hudson. How can you not?
But, like, how much work did it take to find how to bridge these characters together? Or is that, like, another thing that Sephi helped you all guide you through?
It was. I call it lightning in a bottle because it really was. So it does help that we are all IRL friends.
Okay.
Like, I'm the baby to the group. I've known Sephi for about 4 years. I've known Caro for like Caro and I were on a committee together, so we had exchanged emails. And at one point, they super backed me up when I was like, "Y'all, this is racist, and we need to not do this." And everybody's like, well, and Carol's like, maybe she knows what she's talking about. This is racist. We're not. Let's not. So, but other than that, we hadn't really ever interacted. I met Elise. We played one game together, another Sephi game, a year or so back. There was a clip going around. We were at our friend's Venture Pub, and then I met Ren the first day. I started playing as a guest spot on another campaign that Sephi runs. It's our home game, Wrath of the Open Water. So I'm the newbie, but Sephi, Elise, Caro, and Ren have been playing they've known each other for years. And I've LARPed with Sephi and a little bit with Caro. So there was that kind of immediate, we have done this, we've role played together, really good baton passing. So even though we came in with very disparate character concepts, we know enough that we are good and have gotten even better at just kind of juggling and passing and being like, no, you take this, no, you take this.
I
no,
mean,
I
the comedic timing in this thing is fucking flawless. And like a cat attack just says, Siri does feel so crucial to tying the group together, and the fact that you're the newbie to it is just. It's all good. It's all good in and out.
Like, my cast is amazing. Like, so Elise, it's unfair being at a table with Elise because you'll be like, having a moment, and then Elise will just say something, and then you have to wait like 10 minutes for you to stop laughing because she's just that funny. And Ren is just so intentional. Oh, they're like, one of the things I talk about is how Ren just plays silence, the awkward pauses with Cecil. They come through so perfectly, and then they highlight everything that Cecil is saying. And Caro with Ollie, and just the mix of vulnerability and kind of brash. And I feel like it's very easy to like Suri and Hudson from the beginning, because Suri is awkward nerd girl who just wants to be good, and Hudson is a himbo who's hilarious. But then Ollie and Cecil are kind of slow burn, and then by like episode 4 or 5, you're like, how was I sleeping on them before? They are amazing. I will fight everybody for them, and it's just, I could fangirl about my cast for forever, and that's not even including Sephi, who is amazing.
I think that the magic in this show is that everybody who listens to it can easily just go nuts about it. Of course, there are the signature moments in this show that I don't want to spoil. So I'm just gonna say to everybody, please listen to this. It really is. It's so wholesome. It's like audio chocolate milk, like with marshmallows. It's just, you feel good after listening to it. And I do have to ask you, like, Fast Times, it's quickly gaining steam. Its presence is felt in the community. I mean, and this is even before the critic hug thing, which, obviously, that when that's a huge deal. But like, it's been gaining steam even
Hugely.
before that. I've got to ask you, like, what's it been like to just to be to be part of this from the inception of it, where it was just an idea, to seeing where it is now that you're at the season finale.
Uh, so I have always said I am happy, like being, a decent sized fish in a very small pond. Like in our local LARP groups and everything, I've kind of made a name for myself in the community just for being a good role player, being decent, like picking people up, and I was cool with that. And Steffi's like, no, we're gonna do this, and it's gonna be amazing, and you don't understand, it's gonna be big. And I'm like, Steffi, I mean, I think our quality is there, like bar none. Especially after Derek gets through being our editor, he
It's
just
so
chef's
clean.
kiss amazing with all of that. Like I will be more angry if Derek doesn't win some of the Audioverse awards than I will be if like the cast doesn't, because Derek is just phenomenal. But Steffi's like, no, you don't understand. This is gonna be big, and I'm like I believe in you and I believe in us, but I also know that this isn't like that's not how life works. And then I think it was after our first episode aired and went live, maybe our second, and people were really responding and things were coming in, and I'm like, Persephone, you're correct. This is gonna be a thing. This is gonna be like a real thing. And just my mind was blown. Like I am, I'm a dorky girl who really loves Sailor Moon and yelling on the internet. Like I'm not I don't think fame. I think like, I go to my LARP and I'm gonna get a bunch of hugs from people because they like me as a person. But like random strangers that I've never met, why? But it's just,
I'm sorry, I'm
it's so
smiling and
big.
giggling because like I had a feeling you were a Sailor Moon fan from,
I
from
mean,
this
you
last
follow me on
episode.
Twitter.
And
Yeah.
then I was just like, you just confirmed it.
All right, I have been a Sailor Moon fan since 1995 when WTXX UPN 20 was playing it at 3:30 in the afternoon. I would rush home from middle school and be like, I gotta get my jam on. So like it is.
I was a low key Sailor Moon fan because I was still very much in the toxic mindset of dudes can't like Sailor Moon. So like after Ronin Warriors would go off, I would stick around and watch Sailor.
You're just like, I just didn't turn the.
Yeah, I just
didn't change
forgot
the
to turn it
channel,
off,
and I
bruh.
guess it's on. No,
Oh,
like hardcore Sailor Moon. If we're talking about like foundational media that has literally changed the course of my life, it would be Sailor Moon. Like I got into fandom for that. Uh, um, Fan fiction, like that was my gateway into internet culture. So Sailor Moon fan fiction, looking up Sailor Moon pictures on the internet, and RPing in Yahoo chats. Like that was early Nuance internet, like 1997 ridiculousness.
no, I feel that with my whole heart. I was in those I was on those Gaia online RP forums, killing it.
I still play in a forum RPG. Like it's a pan fandom high school RP that I've been playing in since 2009. I think we started on LiveJournal. We moved to Dreamwidth. Like that's
you,
why I'm like
you've
people
been
are like
practicing for fast
right,
times.
right. So people are like, Nuance, you're so cool, and I'm like, are you sure? Maybe you are you thinking of a different Nuance? There are like two or three out there. It's okay.
Oh my god. Well, again, just I know this is like a part two of the previous question I just asked, but now you're part of a story that's inspiring people to create things on their own initiative. I have seen music, I have seen artwork, I have seen just people have taken to this story in the same fashion that they take to like Critical Role and Dimension 20. I mean, do you ever get like like blindsided by like just a piece of art of like Siri or just the story you guys are telling? Because that's the dream. That is the dream.
So on our back end Discord, we have a whole channel that's just for like wholesome fan responses. And especially in the beginning, it was just like somebody would post something we've seen, and we're all just like, "Are you kidding? People like really? Are you sure?" It's like, but in our fan Discord, like people are making up drink recipes, and they're knitting dice bags and making like dice earrings and jewelry, and drawing pictures and making cheers. But the first time Jake like put down a beat, we were just like, "Is that for us? Like really for
Yes.
us?" It's so good, and it's just because I've been part of the fan community. I've done that for people, and to have that come back to me, it just your girl might have cried a little bit in the beginning, because it's just, it is the dream. And to be part of that community, like I have such good memories of some of my Sailor Moon, my early Sailor Moon communities, and my Pan Fandom RP. Like that's why I go to Europe just about every non-pandemic years, because of like the friends I have made through that game. And so to think that I am part of something that spawns that for other people is amazing. Like it's just, it feels like I'm part of a cultural moment, like a really important cultural moment. And it's not just about the fans. It's like, uh, um, Black women having their voices out, and we've got non-binary representation, we have trans representation. It's like we are telling a story that I think really resonates to people, because inclusivity isn't just a thing that we're slapping on. It is baked in from the ground up, and there is always like somebody who has finally found a story that they can be in and see themselves in, and that's so important. And it's just like one of my heartbeat moments will always be Cecil's makeover in episode 5, I think it is, where they're like, they're looking, and they kind of want to be a little more masked and have that defined jawline, and Sephi just leans in and is like, "I was just like you," as the character, "I was just like you at your age." And it's just that moment, like how often do trans and non-binary kids get to have that Cinderella moment? And so it was just so amazing, and to get to be part of that, just to watch it happening, like watching Ren's face.
I have to say, as a listener, uh, one of the things that I admire and I'm so proud of with what you guys are doing, is that, like you said, it's such a foundational part of the story that it doesn't feel called on. Like it doesn't. I'm sure we've all seen the media that panders to diversity, and like every time there's any bit of inclusivity, they're like, "Hey, check this scene out that's being inclusive. We're killing it." Like I was able to listen to that makeover scene, and just like it was a part of the story. It like and I know that it was heavy for the character, and it was like it was just a massive moment for that character, and all the meaning around it. Like I know that it's not gonna hit as hard for me as it will for somebody that's trans, and I think that's what we need more of. We need it just being a part of the story, and you know what? The people the people that really need this, we're gonna give it to them, and the people that it might not be for, they can just enjoy the story. You don't have to put a flagpole on everything and go, haha! And that's one of the many things that Fast Times does so fucking amazingly. And the last bit of a compliment I'm gonna give you and yours before we move over to our character creation questions is I absolutely adore the fact that Fast Times is kind of carving their own way. There are there are some shows that are just like where we're gonna take the best pieces of what this group is doing and the best pieces of what that group are doing, and then that'll be the formula. I genuinely have no idea what the fuck is gonna happen next with Fast Times. but you haven't missed yet. What's that like for you? Like, do you? I mean, I'm sure that there is a roadmap that you all created for like where you would like to see this go. But if you were master of the universe and you could choose what the next 10 years of Fast Times looks like, what would that look like to you?
Oh, oof. Okay. um. So within the story, um, I would want them. So right now they're mostly sophomores in high school. I want to see them continue to grow, to change, to really come into their own because um, this is first and foremost a story. Like it's a Bildungsroman. Like this is a story of four kids who are outcasts for various reasons. Even Hudson, um, for all that he's incredibly popular. He still has his own troubles and struggles, and it's how they come together, how they learn to be not only good people in themselves but good friends, because all of them are loners too. Like we see Hudson with friends, but his friends are all, they kind of suck, at least like in the first episode. Suri has no friends. Ollie doesn't have really friends either. Cecil doesn't have friends, and so we see them learn to be who they are, not who their outside pressures are trying to convince them to be, and learn how to be friends. And I want to see them continue that journey even further, to become better people and to become like guiding forces in the world. And that, again, we kind of try to reflect that in the podcast itself. Like one of the things that Caro is deliberately doing with Ollie is trying to show another form of masculinity that is not toxic. Like how when Ollie wanders off to take time because he just needs a moment to deal with his emotions, and
Yeah.
kind of, I want to see us cataloging our struggles and showing different ways of how we get past them, how we get out of toxic situations, you know, how they can become better people. And I want to see, like, that is not a journey that stops when you graduate high school, when you graduate college. Like, I'm always trying to become a better person because there are always ways where I see that I am falling down.
Yeah.
And I want to see how that struggle can continue, the different ways we can tell that kind of story without it getting old, and have that also reflected in kind of the battles that they fight. I mean, it is not at all a surprise that the first people that they fight are reflections of themselves. Like that wasn't an accident. That wasn't just like, oh, a mirror battle would be cool. Like that's heavily layered in symbolism.
But it's not overdone. Is the thing? It's so hard to not overdo it. How do y'all not miss?
I think Sephi has a really deft hand with just storytelling and finding ways to to like highlight things. And then the four of us as players, I think we all have a lot of narrative experience. We've all been role playing for a while, or a lot of us has been GMing. We've all been LARPing. I write, I edit. Caro does like theater. Caro and Elise just finished their book. Like Ren has their interview show and their one shots. So narrative is a big deal to all of us, and I think we're all at that point where we're skilled enough in storytelling where we know the lightest touch here will do like everything. We don't need to highlight it. We can just kind of, I mean, and a lot of, also I have to give props to Derek because he does edit a lot of things out, so it's just like boom, that one, like you hit it there.
I do have to say, in terms of giving Derek credit, the music is as much of a character in the podcast as any of the characters. There are moments where the music cuts just so that you really listen to what a character says in either like a comedic moment or like this is some real shit, and it hits every time. So we're about to move on to our character creation portion. I just would like to give you the stage real quick before we move on to that. Uh, if there's somebody that's on the fence, like maybe I'll listen to it eventually. Like, what would you tell somebody to listen to Fast Times right now? Because you should. You should listen to it right now. Not wait till the show's over, but then listen to it right now.
So I think that we are telling a hell of a story, and it is a story that is involved in all of us. Like, in my for all that Suri is Wanti, in my head she is a little black girl, and so I get to bring in my characterization, like all the things that I wanted to do or I wanted to see myself in growing up, and we all this is a podcast that is grounded in intentionality, it's grounded in believability, it's grounded in authenticity, because we are telling the stories that we needed when we were kids. It is a romp, it is a silly funny romp as you go these kids through high school and bullies and parties, but it's also things like Suri and Cecil have anxiety, like serious anxiety, and because like I have anxiety, so yeah, I'm gonna bring that in, and we hit a lot of really emotional moments. So if you like emotional storytelling that hits home, that is based in real people's real experiences that are outside of just your white cis dude experience, give us a listen. And I think we're gonna surprise you with some of the places the story goes. Were you surprised in episode 9?
I, I'm gonna actually confess. I was not sure what I was getting into with Fast Times at D&D High. I was rooting for it from the start just because I love so many of the people that are on this podcast. I'd never seen Sephi DM. I'd only seen Ren in a few shows. And I wasn't familiar with the rest of the cast, so I was hesitant to listen because there's so many other podcasts that I have to catch up to. So I was just like, I'll get to it. I don't know what made me just like I as I was driving, I was just like, you know what, today's today, and I put it on, and the sign of a really good podcast is just like when you sit in the car an extra 15 minutes. And so I remember I was sitting in the car an extra 15 minutes, and I was not expecting to laugh as genuinely as I laughed. Like a lot of live streams and stuff that I watched, it's like a that was a funny moment, but a lot of the jokes in this stick with me. Like I will never be able to see 3 swords and not chuckle again. Like so I was very taken aback by it. And then I was not expecting to feel a lot of the feels that I was starting to feel. Just trying to make sure I don't spoil anything because you have to listen to this podcast. And I will just say this: the season finale it was such a triumph. It was such a moment where it was just like, yes, like you watch something and you want the good guys to win, but the way that it starts to happen, it feels very transformative, and that's all I'm gonna say there. It's very good. Definitely watch it.
We were very happy with how that came out. Like, and again, we had really funny moments. Like, oh, I'm dreaming. But I think that really goes to kind of underscore those moments where it's just. So it's just like, we're not afraid to laugh at ourselves, at everything, but we're also not afraid to just go in and be like, oh, by the way, your feelings, they're mine now. Thanks.
I mean, I think the best way I can explain it is, you have seen tons of shows where somebody casts cure wounds on somebody. This show has the unique ability to make how somebody approaches somebody that they're going to cure matter as much as the spell does. That's what I can say. It's just a lot is told not by what the characters do, but how they do it. And that once you're able to make me care about how they walk, you got me hooked. That's all I can say to that. It's just oof. So we are going to be moving on to our character creation portion. The way that this works is I'm going to take this D20 here.
All right.
And I'm going to roll it. Whatever the number that it lands on is going to be the level of your character for our one shot. So you can be level 1 or you can be level 20. I've been rolling high for these. I don't know why. So let's see if that trend continues. Hey, Bree, you are very, very correct. This podcast will keep your attention the entire time. Even the ad reads are funny. They do it in character, and I'm fucking losing. Sorry. Anyway, you will be playing a level 11 character.
Ooh.
So, with hearing that, I have to ask you, because the purpose of this is to kind of get inside your mind. When you hear that you're playing a level 11 character, where does your mind go first? I'm like, what's the first thing that you're thinking right now?
So, a girl's got to go back to her roots and like be a caricature of herself. So my first thought is, ooh, you know, I can splash rogue onto literally anything and it would be baller. Actually, in Wrath of the Open Water, the fast time, the other Sephi home game, I'm playing a rogue warlock because again, your girl is a caricature of herself. But I was also
it's so different from certain.
I told you, she is my aberration. She is my sweetheart aberration. Everybody else, I'm just like, yeah, let's do this. What up? Oh, you do it. So I'm thinking like maybe an artificer. I haven't really played one of those. And I think they get some cool stuff at like 10. Honestly, when it comes down to it, I'm not really obsessed with levels. Like, I don't really care about levels. It's cool to be able to do fun stuff. Like, it's way better to play a magic user at higher levels than at lower ones because, you know, I don't want to get into a fight with a cat and die. But at the same time, for me, it's really more about like, what cool thing can I do just with the character? What kind of character can I play, and what class will really make that character pop?
Okay, so you think narrative first, mechanics later?
Yeah, always.
Okay.
Always. Like, narrative first, I guess mechanics will come into play somewhere.
Right. Like, okay, no, that makes a lot of sense. So now that we've kind of discovered that you're like a narrative first type of individual, what would guide your character creation next?
Normally I talk to the GM, be like, what kind of game is this? Because if it's like a murder hobo game, I'm going to play a vastly different character than if it is a social intrigue, or if it's a bunch of high schoolers. Also maybe touch base with characters,
okay,
like, or with other players. Like, so what are you guys doing? What are you thinking? Because the way I play is I like everybody having a moment to be cool, where they do a thing that nobody else can do, and they just feel good, and I'm here for that. So if somebody else, I'm not going to play a paladin if somebody else is playing a paladin, because let them have their cool moment. Let them do.
I respect that. Just to fast track what that would be like in an actual campaign to this, I very much function on the idea of giving out the energy that I receive. So if I'm playing a game and like I start to go for narrative and I see my players getting antsy, like Father, I crave violence. Like then I will conjure up violence for them to let loose on my world. I by default am very narrative based. I also agree with you that I feel like a DM's job is to make sure that everybody has that spotlight moment. Because my favorite thing as a GM is the conversations after the session where everybody gets to go, did you see that thing I did where I like backflipped off a bald dude's head? And like the cleric is just like, I can't believe my fucking guiding bolt helped you kick a dude the nuts to death. Like just really silly shit. I want people cast conjure violence. So like
that's a GM spell.
that really is. It's just like, okay, they're not digging all my exposition here. Have a fight. Evil guard, whatever. That's my go-to.
The way
Bad cops.
Generally, the characters that I play, like we can have a whole session without violence, and I'm like, all right, but was the RP there? Like, did I have a chance? Did I get to flirt, argue, make somebody cry, make somebody laugh? Then all right, cool. Like, I also, as people who listen to Fast Times may know, I kind of have a tendency to make speech, or who are listening to this right now, I kind of have a tendency to make speeches. So like, if I can have my character stand on a table and just be like, ye few, you mighty few, kind of thing, then like I'm having a great time.
Hell
Y'all
yeah.
can roll some dice. I don't even.
You are speaking my language. That is exactly the kind of shit that I like, and I like to see my. I like that moment where my characters make me go, shit, my plans. Like if I toss my notes, then I can't be any happier because it's a treat for the GM, I think, to be surprised, just like it's a treat for the players to be surprised. So yeah, I'm totally down for your playstyle. It sounds like I've already got the framework of a story that I want to have you involved in. So my next question is, seeing that I am also a narrative type GM and I am very receptive to the idea of you playing how you want to play and solving problems the way you want to solve them, where does that send you next in your head? Like, do you like, now that you know that, oh, okay, so this isn't going to be a by default murder hobo campaign, so I can play a character that's not combat optimized.
In that case, and seriously, anybody who plays with me normally is just gonna laugh at me, and I deserve it. I accept it. But I'm thinking of, I like the idea of that artificer. Just again, because I haven't played it, so I'm gonna also apologize to everybody because you're gonna see me be like, I have no idea what to do, like how to do this thing. But I really, two of my favorite tropes are either the the princess slumming it, or the street rat who is elevated and has to fake the whole time. This won't quite be that, but I'm thinking like kind of like a dorky artificer who is part of the a thieves guild, so has some rogue, maybe some assassin, because girls got a type. But is mostly there just to be like, I made a cool thing. Look, it's gonna make, like, you can just throw this thing and then all of your opponents are, frogs or unconscious or maybe murdered. It's so cool.
It sounds like you're building like a Q type character for an Assassin's Guild.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I'm here for that. I am here for that. Okay, no, I like this. So, all right, that alters a few things that I had in mind, and I'm very excited for that. All right, so we're looking at Artificer. Did you want to go straight level 11 Artificer? Oh no, you wanted to throw some Assassin in there. Okay,
I think so, probably.
Now let's take a look at races. How do you usually pick races? Or are you like me, where it's like a dartboard?
Yeah, like, I'm in a short shot campaign right now, where again I was like a Calisar monk. I don't even know the proper race name because I'm just like, ain't been that. Cool, let's do
And
this.
they can talk to people in other people's heads. So yeah.
Right, and it's been super useful. So let me just pull up the list of right. This is this is how I do. Where I'm just like, um, races, fantasy races.
Pin in the table.
Yeah. Sometimes I might be like if I am trying to be a little more strategic, I might be like, well, intelligence is necessary, so let me intelligence this. But that's not really. I'm just like, uh, yeah. Let's be an Azamar. Did I just look at that and that was the first one I saw? No,
I mean, it's got double A's on it, so yeah.
I put thought and again that intentionality I was talking about right into that choice. It was not just random.
All right, so we've got our character. We've got Asamar, Artificer, Assassin. Wow, you really with all A's today. Artificer, Asamar, Assassin. How do you break out the levels?
I know I want to be at least third level. I would actually have to look at this. At least third level rogue. Maybe a bit high. Oh, I think there might be something really sexy for rogues in 5. Maybe 5, 6, 3, 8.
Okay.
These are excellent questions you're asking. Like, really good questions.
Well, don't worry.
Glad I prepared for this part.
Don't worry, because this is what the next part is for. We're actually going to go on break, so you can take all the pieces of the soup that you're making, put it onto a character sheet, give yourself a quick look at it. Also, give yourself a chance to bio, get something to drink. We'll come back. But before we can do that, I just need one last thing. What is this character's name?
Killing me. You're killing me.
It's because I care.
I'm gonna go with, because I clearly have. I've started a theme. I have to stick with it. Her name's gonna start with the letter A. So Allegra, but she goes by Allie. She's like,
okay.
Yeah, that's what I got.
Allie, the Asamar Assassin Artificer. All right. Well, everybody, we're gonna take a quick 10 or 15-minute break, and we'll be back to tell the story of Allie, the Artificer Assassin from the heavens. We'll be right back.
Okay.
And we're back. Everything should be as it was before, so that means we should be still audible. And we will be coming to you to tell you the story of Ali, the Asimar, uh, wow, artificer, assassin. That's a lot of A's and different ways of saying A. So let's get the music right as we begin to tell the tale. Our story is
I also just kind of want to jump in, and again, sorry, I just wanted to be like, never played this before, so we're making this up as we go along.
No judgments, everybody. Be nice.
Be nice.
So hold on. All right, there we go. So our story takes place in the world of Gloria, in a kingdom called Devanora, which is a high society kingdom. It's the home of aristocrats, politicians, royalty, knights. This is where the creme de la creme hang their hats. But on the underside of Devanora is a hidden world, the underworld, a world of assassins, thieves, of high profile kidnappers. Crime is everywhere. Crime is everywhere in the world of Gloria, but here in Devanora, the crime is fashionable. It looks good. In our story, we're gonna focus on an assassins group called the Morte. The Morte are renowned for leaving calling cards of golden roses on their victims. And they're also known for making sure that their victims pass peacefully into the next world. They're seen as a gracious and merciful assassins guild. This is the guild that you call when someone has to die because they have to, not because you want them to. If someone is leading the charge on a new law that will unfortunately affect your company, you call the Morte. One of the secret weapons of the Morte is Ali. Ali has spent years crafting the finest tools, the sharpest daggers, the most potent poisons, and the most explosive contraptions. In rare cases, when a statement needs to be made. The Morte have a rival in Devanora. They are simply called the Hand. The Hand will take any job and every job. Their call to fame is that the job gets done, no matter what. Not necessarily pretty, not necessarily beautiful, but the job gets done. And when you want it done. See, the Morte, they are artists. If someone is particularly well guarded, rather than sacrifice the lives of even one additional person, the Morte will wait and bide their time and strike with deadly precision. The Hand will clutch a hammer and smash its way through. There is a particular brute among the Hand, the rival to Ali. His name is Barnabas Biles. He is a weapons forger, a barbarian, a master of tools. Not particularly clever, but gifted with the hammer. The Morte have recently recovered a magic item of potent potential. This is a strange item that they've gotten their hands on. It is called the Tear of Potential. Inside of this crystal gem are rare occurrences of it seems like individuals inside doing something. But more than that, you've seen with your keen magical eye, Allie, that this thing radiates every shade of magic. This thing is powerful. And you, upon seeing it, you have some ideas of just some ways that you might be able to siphon the energy off of it and to use it for your own blueprints. The master of the Morte, Marcus Aurelius, uh, he comes forward and he opens this wooden box and you see it. You've only heard rumors of it before. He's never let you hold it. You've only ever seen it in his possession, but he comes to you now. Well, we've run it through alchemists, we've run it through scientists, and everyone agrees that the person that will be able to use this to its highest potential is you. So, I leave it with you, Allie. I trust you, but do be careful. We need to make sure that this is safe. Hmm?
Yes, absolutely. I would never perfectly safe. Only the highest quality of safety mechanisms in this lab. Don't worry, that would be a really big explosion. And
It from what they tell me, you would take out the entire headquarters. In fact, if it weren't for your stellar reputation, I would never dream of leaving you alone with this.
your trust in me is well founded.
I haven't been wrong yet. He just puts a hand on your shoulder. Marcus is a very tall, built, like he seems like he would belong more in the hand. He looks like someone that just destroys everything in his way. But you've only ever known him as somewhat of a tender father figure. He even when he touches you, he makes sure to be gentle. In fact, you when you see him walk, you can tell that he does everything in his power to make sure that everyone and everything around him feels safe in his presence. In fact, it's almost questionable how this guy is the leader of an assassin's guild that prides itself on precision rather than power, but you don't have time to think about that. You've got this unlimited potential in your hands. And with Aurelius leaving, the door closes, and you have everything in one spot. What do you do?
Well, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my notebooks. Where are my notebooks? I have so many notebooks. Actually, wait, no, even better than notebooks. I have created a recording machine so that I can just talk. Yes, okay, yeah, no, much faster than notebooks. I'm so smart. How am I so smart? Okay, yes. So I get out my magical recording device, and I'm gonna start talking into it. Just at this point, it's pure investigation. I'm looking at it, trying, noting things I see. Also, weight, density. There's a lot of equations. I sketch it out because always the first thing to do is to make sure that you understand its physical properties as much as you can. I'm taking like fantasy mass spectrometer readings.
So you notice
I definitely lose several hours on that.
So as you're researching, the one thing that's constant about this is the inconsistency of it. Its weight changes, its shape changes, it's ever flowing, but it's solid. It's a very strange thing. It's almost as if it only changes when you're not looking at it. You jot down your notes like crazy, and then go ahead and roll me a perception check.
I have D20s somewhere. Here we go. that's a 14.
Okay. With the 14, you're able to. You're going through your notes and you hear something move for a second, and you take a look, but you don't see anything. Do you choose to pursue seeing if there's something amiss, or do you go back to your notes?
I 100% go back to my notes.
Mm-hmm.
Allegra is very, very smart. Very smart. Wisdom, ooh, common sense. It's a little.
Okay. So
I've
with
got a toy.
that,
It is shiny.
with that, you continue to mess about with this tier of potential. Go ahead and roll me a investigation.
Yeah. That is 21.
Okay, so with the 21, you're able to take the tier, and you've got your little jeweler's lens, and you look into it, and you see inside of it, a woman with a staff standing by a tree that has a bunch of these tears on it, and then that flux and changes, and you see the headquarters of the Morte explode. And with that, there's another sound off into the distance.
Oh no. um, I am. So, I'm in my workshop.
Mhm.
That noise that I heard, is it coming like behind me? Is it coming
It's
from the door?
it's coming from the other side of the door. Like it's as if something is on the. It sounds like something's in the hallway on the other side of the door. I mean, which isn't inherently strange, but you're in an Assassin's Guild. Usually, everybody's pretty quiet. So,
Yeah. Um. You know, so with all of the times that I have made explosive devices, can I tell? Does that sound like a kind of like the trigger noise for an explosive device or something?
you're not able to tell.
Who earns? Okay. You know, I'm not very commonsensical, but I am real smart. So I'm gonna grab my bug out bag and the tier. I'm gonna wrap that up real quick. Oh, and gotta grab my notes. Definitely gotta grab my notes. Tuck that into my bag. There is a window at the back of my workshop. I'm just gonna
Mhm.
go up that and then circle around and come back to the front of the thieves guild and then be like, so this is a thing I saw. Yes, that is good, that is smart. I'm gonna
So,
escape out the alley, but then come right back
as you go
around and
to
be
the
like, I'm not running
window,
away.
as you go to the window, you try to open it, and as soon as you try to open it, you see runes, like a sheer wall of runes that are keeping the window from opening. You recognize. Go ahead, and roll me an arcane check.
Oh, that is not good. Aha! Oh, ooh, 17.
You recognize this as an arcane ward. Something is magically keeping this window. And wait, what did you roll total?
17.
A 17. With with that, you would be able to gather that this ward probably isn't just for this window, but for any exit.
Is it the slapdash, uh, um, brute force kind of magic of the hand?
It. You know what? Give me an intelligence check. Just to see if you're like, okay, I've seen the way that they manipulate the weave, and it's sloppy in comparison.
It is sloppy. That's a 16.
With the 16, you're able to tell, yeah, this is them. Like, the runes are a little jagged and not nearly as like when the Morte do spells and runes, it's like calligraphy level. This is just somebody took out a ink pen and just
just wrote some nonsense down.
Mm-hmm.
That's not even how you conjugate that room. Ugh. Um, so I'm going to cast message
Mm-hmm.
to Marcus just to be like, uh, hand is that's sending. Uh, hand is making attack. All exits blocked. Have tier explosions. Watch out. Um,
Let's
and then
let's see. Now there, message can only get through walls so thick. So I'm gonna say there is a good 40% chance that it's gonna be able to get through. So we're gonna see if
fair.
uh, I'm not gonna tell you if I'm not gonna tell you if it was successful, but I am just going to roll to see if it happened. Okay, so you send the message off,
Okay.
and you get no reply.
Um, I have to assume that my workshop has been the source of explosions in the past.
Mm-hmm.
All been there.
Yep.
So can we say I have something set up that's kind of like a little bomb ward, so that if there is an explosion,
Mm-hmm.
I don't explode myself?
I will say that there is a ward in. So Allie would have set up a two-prong system. Upon a noise of a certain decibel being activated in her lab, two things will happen. One, she gets immediately misty stepped outside of the lab, and also it automatically activates a wall of force or a force cage in her laboratory to uh, keep the explosion from destroying the rest of the headquarters. You know that this is the case. You still saw in that crystal the entire headquarters explode.
Yeah, but that might, for once, not be my bomb. That might not be me. I'm not even hurting this thing yet. I promise I was gonna be careful. I'm the only person here. I don't need to talk to myself, but I just want let the record show I was careful. Yeah. And what is my ceiling made out of?
Your ceiling is made out of adamantine.
Well, I'm not going through my ceiling now, am I?
You built this place to make sure that the rest of the headquarters was safe.
I am so smart. Oh, why am I so smart? In that case, I'm going to hit one of my creations, like a kind of a bomb that's almost like a noise bomb. It's really good for either distractions or sometimes even
to trigger
debilitating people. Yeah.
To trigger this? Okay,
let's
absolutely.
Misty step this joint.
Yeah, in fact, you have a red button that's designed solely to test this feature. So you tap it, boom, like there is a loud sound of an explosion. You see yourself start to warp away, Star Trek style, and the force cage comes up. And go ahead and roll me an Arcana check.
Also, can we talk about how awful the hand is? Like, I got to hit my red button. I'm always so excited, and I couldn't even be excited right now. They ruin everything. That's a 13.
Okay, you see that you are misty stepping away. You are going, but your control of where, like, you have a default path, and it's being moved away. Something is now taking you, and you find yourself next to Aurelius, who is on his knees, pretty bloodied up. And you see a couple of the other Morte assassins on the ground, just wounded. And in Marcus's seat, his almost like makeshift throne-like seat, you see Barnabas. Well, I suppose that saves me the trouble of getting you out of there.
Files.
So, the tear. We know you have it. Give it to me.
it's back in my very safe lab because only an idiot brings it out into danger. See, this is why you're a ham-handed hack, because you don't understand how things like magic items and common sense work. I'm just gonna go put my arm around Aurelius if I can, because your girl's an ASMR and she's just gonna be like, "What if I heal a little bit?" Just.
So you go to heal him, and I'm gonna say you notice this the moment you drop 1 HP on him. The second that healing surge goes into his body, you hear him go, "Ah!" See, you insult the hand. You insult our ways, but we are simply willing to go farther than you. And when you look at Aurelius, you go ahead and make me a medicine check.
5.
You don't know what's wrong with him, but you can tell that he's been afflicted by something. And it's ugly magic. Whatever it is, he's just there are lines that we don't cross. There are lines that you don't cross. Not us. Now, the tear.
Do you want to go into my lab and get it? I'll accompany you. I'll watch you.
And you see one of Biles' seconds go, "What, are you afraid? Follow the girl. Let's get this over with." And he goes, "Fine." Gets out of the chair, spits on it. "Lead the way, girl."
She's gonna glare at him for a moment and then spin on her heel and start to walk back to her lab.
Okay. Now, what I am going to do here is I'm going to say that there are at least 3 booby traps that Allie has set up. I'm going to do contested D20 rolls, just regular D20s.
Sure.
If he gets higher, he notices one before you have the chance to make it go off.
Sounds good.
So, first one, he rolled an 8.
I rolled a 12.
Okay. And second one, he rolled a 5.
I rolled a 3.
And the third and final one, 12.
17.
Okay. So,
I make good traps.
So you're starting to walk to the hallway, and you sidestep just a little bit, and there's a tile on the floor that gives way, barely, but you know that this is your trigger. And what happens?
At that point, it's almost like a portcullis. But with razor edges, and it's probably actually several feet thick, because so the middle one comes down first, but then there are several more, so that they think they've dodged out of the way, but the rest of them come down. It's probably like maybe a foot and a half in each direction.
Okay.
So it's like ching, then ching, ching, ching.
So he gets skewered. You dodge out of the way, and you put your hand on a wall. It looks very natural, like you just, and then just the tiniest give. The second booby trap occurs. What happens?
That is the spell crystal shatters. That's what actually the ching is, and acid rain, just like or acid cloud, or whatever the heck that spell name is, just explodes in through the hallway.
Oh, go ahead.
So it's like burning and seething, and I probably get a little bit of that too. But you know what?
He sees that one coming and he tackles you. He puts a gun to your chin and he goes, "Very clever, girl." And with that,
I understand your confusion.
with that, you put your hands up.
I'm a smart mouth till I'm dead.
You put your hands up and it hits a wire that hardly anybody can see. And what's the last trap?
So the last trap we've done that.
And if you like, I can do it for
this
you.
One
I
is
just want to give it to you.
This one is actually the ground shifts open and it's just a tunnel that goes down, probably down into the sewers beneath us.
Okay.
So just open and we fall.
She tackles you, gun to your head. You hit the emergency brake. Ground opens up and then poof, you fall to the lower levels. And this is the armory that you've slid down. This wasn't so much a trap as much as it was just a way to get fast access. But with your quick thinking, you needed to get him off balance, and so you activated one of the many fast travel chutes that are around the Morte headquarters. And now, while you're sliding, you're able to get a dominant position. You land on him, roll off, and there are weapons at your disposal. You get one free round before he can do anything, and his hit points, because of the traps, are halved.
Ooh.
So,
yes.
All
right.
We will roll initiative, but you do get your surprise round because I like surprise rounds, and it doesn't matter because he rolled shit.
I rolled more shit. I rolled a nat 1.
Oh wow. Okay, yeah, you did roll shit. He rolled a 4.
I will understand if I lose my surprise round.
Oh no, the surprise round happens.
Ouch.
The surprise round happens first, and then it's
right.
Then we can go into initiative. So, he just took a hit.
That hurts me.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't look well either. So, okay, so, what are you going to do with your surprise round? You got any weapon at your disposal because you are in the armory?
Cool. So I'm going to grab, the first thing I'm going to grab is I forget, guns. Do guns work off decks?
Yep.
Cool. Yeah, so I'm going to grab a gun. It looks, it's a truly ridiculous looking like blunderbuss thing. It's like a blunderbuss, but then I got creative with it. My rapier's over there, but I'm going to leave it alone for now. But the first thing I'm going to do is toss out Flaming Sphere.
Okay.
Oh, hold on. That's actually got to be in an unoccupied space of my choice. No, I want it occupied. I want it occupied real hard. I take it back. I'm sorry. In that case, can I do a Mel's Acid Arrow instead?
Yep.
Thank
now,
you.
I will say this. You are in the armory, and that does include gunpowder.
Another good reason to use a Mel's Acid Arrow and
just...
not. Don't get me wrong, though. That is, in fact, that's like, if we got to do this, I will blow him up and also possibly the armory.
Okay. So, go ahead and roll that attack.
All right. That is 4d4 acid and 2d4 at the end if it hits. That's 14, and then I add my redonkulous. So,
his AC is 15. That hits.
Yeah. Plus all of my shit. 14 on the die plus random shit.
Yeah. Just go ahead and tell me that damage.
Motherfucker comes into my house. My house.
There we go.
Yeah, Betty has his shoes on still too. Fucker
Mm-hmm.
came into my house, didn't even take his shoes off.
No, he was sitting. He was sitting in your guy's main chair.
6, 7. Yeah.
There you go.
All right. That's only 9.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
So he's hurting, but he gets up and he tosses his gun aside and he pulls out an axe and he goes, "I can't very well kill you until you tell me where the tear is, but I can start taking pieces." And he comes forward to attack, and that is a 17.
Ooh. Yeah. Oh. Can I uncanny that or? Yeah. That definitely hits. That's way over my armor, but I'm gonna uncanny dodge.
Okay, so that's 8 damage dropped to 4, and then on his second attack, that is an 18, so that hits.
Definitely hits.
And that's going to be an additional 6 damage.
Oh, well,
As
you know
he just
what? Nobody likes him
just
anyway.
biting into your. You've got armor on, I'd imagine, so it's just biting into the armor in your shoulder, and the second attack starts to bite through, and you see just a bit of blood. He is trying to attack you, but he's trying to be careful about it. So you know that he's not really going ham.
Yeah. So the first one, she kind of dodges, and it like you said, it just hits a little. The second one, she kind of oof. No wonder you're only number 2. You wield that axe like it's a salad fork. Boy, come on. What are you doing?
I actually have to roll. Okay. Like, when you say that, you see him starting to turn red, and, like, there's a vein on the side of his head that's just like... And with that, it is your turn.
I'm really sorry that you're only used to going up against people without skill, but, you know, the rest of us who are good at things. And she just pulls up her gun and just gonna shoot him. Shoot him real good.
Okay.
That is 11 and 15. Just make it. Just make it.
Yep. I will... You know what? I don't think... I didn't give this to you the first time. That first attack should have been a sneak attack.
Oh, right.
I was like, wait, you're playing this... And it was a surprise round. And you're an assassin. So it was an assassination. So let's go ahead and apply that damage now.
Yeah. Real quick, do you know what I'm rolling for gun? Because I honestly do not.
For gun, I use a D8.
Perfect. That is...
That's for pistols. For, like, if you're using a full-on blunderbuss, that's a D12.
Ooh, yeah.
Okay, if that's what you're using, yeah, go ahead with the D12.
First have to be like, where are all my D12s? Oh, here they are in that pocket I never go into. And then... 13.
To attack? Or damage?
Oh, sorry. No, I got a 15 to attack and a 13 for damage.
Alright, and that's including the assassinate damage as well?
I swear, people, I'm actually sort of good at this game.
You're good, you're good. So with the assassin, when you get a surprise round, you have advantage on attack rolls.
Oh!
So
and any hit you score against...
It's considered a critical
hit.
So yeah, and that includes your sneak attack damage. So that means that you are a level, what, 6 rogue?
Mm-hmm.
That means you're going to roll how many d6s besides all of them?
Yeah, I'm just gonna start pulling them out of my thing
Yeah,
now. Let me know
get,
when I hit like enough.
let's see, rogue, 5
My Sailor Moon dice bag.
Okay, so that means you're
I
gonna
have a
roll
brand.
6d6 on top of your weapon damage, which is also double. So 2d12, 66. Because assassins are bogus.
Before coming into my house, talking with my family, it should have realized we are not done for that. That made a really, really satisfying noise right there. That's 14, 18, 20, 23, 24, 25. That's a nice round 30 damage. And, I feel good with that 30 damage.
Okay. That immediately drops him to his knees. He's not dead, but he's close. And with that, you see him... He takes out a silver handle with the little black button on the top. So, you're going to give me what I want. Oh. And you can see from the wound, there is... It looks like circuitry inside the wound a bit. And it's close to his heart. Or... You're going to lose everything.
So Allegra is going to take a stance and hold that blunderbuss to his head and be like, so now that I have you on your knees, which is okay if you wanted to start begging for mercy, but really, I'm going to have you on my table and I'm going to take you apart is what I'm going to do. You have... If you stop, let that... Well, let's not let that go. No, that's a bad choice of word. I'm willing to let the rest of your friends go. I won't even go after them. But if you try me, if you push my hand, I swear to every god that I can name of and several that I just made up, before we both die, you will hurt.
I'm going to give you a chance to roll 2 skills. One is an intimidation check. If you break 15, you can then roll an investigation check with advantage.
Cool. Move up. Okay, 12 on the die. What is my intimidation? Intimidation's based on charisma, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's my... Good to be an ASMR. Fuck. 14. 14!
Ooh.
Oh!
You see him, he just... Fuck my friends and fuck the Morte. You can now roll an investigation check. You will be rolling it flat.
Alright. That, however, is a 22. Look, I'm much better at figuring things out than I am at, talking to people.
While you were talking to him, you've taken a look at the few wires that you can see. And what you see is that what he's holding is obviously some variation of the dead man switch. It's rudimentary. It's basic.
Like the rest of them.
And the wires that are exposed, there is a green wire, a red wire, and a yellow wire. And you have a dagger on your hip. And you're pretty sure if you take out that yellow wire, it'll render whatever's in his chest inert. So this is going to involve your intellect as an artificer and your skill as an assassin to disarm a dead man's switch explosion by throwing a dagger precisely into this man's heart.
So, so Allie looks at him and just kind of she lets her shoulders slump. She throws her blunderbuss away. She's like, "Look, all right, I can get you the tear. In fact," and she reaches into her bag, and pulls out the tear that she's holding.
His eyes.
And while he's looking at that,
he reaches for it.
And then she's gonna pull up, and then she throws, aiming for that yellow wire.
Okay, so here's the deal. Roll me an attack. If you hit 15, you get them precisely.
You know what the cool thing about having an 18 dex is?
Yeah. +4.
It means that you get a +4. I mean, I didn't actually need it. I'm looking at a 17 total, but it just feels real good.
So he reaches for the tear, and with that, you just flip your dagger. And he goes, "Really? Yeah, I guess you don't learn." And you see, he's like pressing it, and
a real assassin would have been prepared for that, and a real artificer would have had fail safes built in.
He keeps pressing it, and then he presses it one more time, and a spark flies out of his chest, hitting the dagger. You just hear he basically tased himself to death by continuously working this. It just drops dead.
So I really hate to do this, because I am a Morte, and we are, among everything else, we have class, we have refinement. But these people here, they don't speak class, they don't speak refinement. So I take his axe, I'm going to behead him, and then I'm going to march upstairs, holding his bloody head, and his axe just kind of over my shoulder, and I will walk into the room. This is what happened to Biles when he came and tried to fuck with the Morte. No, I could let this happen to the rest of you, but I'm genteel. And she just flings the head at the feet of the one who spoke to him. Take your trash and leave.
You hear them all start to whisper among themselves, and you see Aurelius look at you like, and go ahead, roll me an intimidation check.
13.
Okay. You don't roll it at advantage, actually.
Yeah, 21. Good job.
You see them all start to murmur among themselves, and then the number 2 that talked to Biles goes, the one that takes the head guides the hand, and with that he bends his knee, and you see the rest of the hand bend their knee.
It's like, this is, I don't, they're gonna,
Marcus stands up, and he's hobbling. Will you lead them, or will we take them?
Before I make that decision, I want to know what I'm possibly getting. Not all of them can be as pathetically useless as Biles was. You all go back to your base and think about what you've done, and then give me a reason not to murder you all in your sleep, because I can do that a lot real good.
The number two goes, Mistress, the fortress is yours.
Yeah, but you have to get it ready from where, like, I don't know, I kind of assume you all, do you clean? Do literally any of you clean? I have standards.
Is that your order that we clean?
Yeah, it is. Before I come, you are inviting your mistress home? I should be able to see myself in reflections, and ain't nobody wear shoes in that fortress. I will be hemmed up. That is disgusting. You walk outside in that. Have you seen our streets?
The tenets of the mistress have been the tenets of the mistress have been denoted. We are clean, and there's to be no shoes in the fortress. Reflection. We must be able to see our reflection.
I'm gonna examine your kitchen too, because I don't trust any of you. That shit better be. Also, get spices. You all better have spices in that kitchen when I show up.
There must be spices immediately. And you see all of them scamper off, and you can tell that this was the elite force of the hand that you now control. You control the entire hand. Marcus is limping over to you. Whatever it is still eating away at him. And he goes, you have the choice now to bond our houses, or you see he like puts a hand on his weapon, but he's so tired that he just.
I don't want to kill them all. I don't like. That's slaughter. That's not skill or artistry. That's just slaughter.
Then we teach them, and they become Morte.
Okay. Can you be my second in the hand, so I can just be like, obey? I want to be in the lab. I don't want to give orders. That's real hard.
You see Marcus struggle, but he bends the knee, and he goes, I will be your second in the hand, and you will be my second in the Morte. I am gifted in tactics. I will lead and teach the hand the way of our combat, and you will teach the artificers and the wizards the way of technology, and we will be a silent force to guide Devanora to the future.
Because we all know the real criminals are the ones who live up there.
Yes, we have to eat the rich.
No, she's gonna lunge forward and just give him a hug, and then be like, "We need." I had a whole group. I'm so dumb. Hold on. Stay there. Don't move. You weren't gonna move. Of course you weren't gonna move. You're kind of injured. She's gonna run out, grab somebody from the hand, be like, "You." Also, figure out, fix him. If you don't fix him, we are gonna have so many problems. Fix whatever you did.
Of course, and he just takes out a shell, and it lets out just a quiet. And right behind Marcus, you see a figure clad in black just land behind him. And Marcus turns around with his sword in hand, but the figure already has his hand on Marcus's, and he goes, "Here to help." And you see he puts his hand inside Marcus's chest, and Marcus starts to convulse a bit, but the color comes back to his skin, and the black veins start to recede. He takes it out.
You're competent. I like you. You can stay.
As you wish, mistress. And he just stands next to you. It's very clear that this dude's a vampire.
Who am I to judge?
And
with lab assistant. Good job, you.
You've got a vampire lab assistant and an entire army now. And And that is the story of Allie, the mistress of the hand.
Oh, God.
That was fun.
That was
I
so much fun. Thank you.
I fully expected an explosion. I had a few different scenarios where it was just like, oh, this is going boom. It did not go boom.
Never rely on brute force when several well chosen words can strike at the heart of the problem. That is our way.
Ooh, okay, then see, we gotta make the Marte a real thing now. That shit was cold. And also, I have been wanting somebody to disable a dead man switch by throwing a dagger in somebody's heart for the longest. So thank you for giving me that.
Oh no, I'm super. No, this was so good. This is such a delightful time. Like, thank you for rolling with my complete and utter lack of knowledge of what artificers do. I just got to be one like.
Oh, thank you for coming up with a
flavor.
character concept that's so fun. It's just like, you know what? What if Q was the badass and 007 was taken out for a session? Like, hell yeah. You, Ryan's
so
going, you
great.
see, they expected the boom. Don't give the hand what they want.
Now when they just come in your house.
You've got a bunch of you've got a bunch of cruel assassins cleaning. How dare?
I'm sorry, I'm not about to walk into their like frat boy fortress and like having to like wade through last week's bottles of whatever. No. They're gonna invite me into my new home. They're gonna prepare it for their mistress.
I can just see two of them now. Like, so do we take the heads off the spike, or does that count as cleaning? She probably doesn't want heads on spikes. Are you sure? Like, okay.
I don't know. Like they're like, no, she came up with a head. Like,
Yeah, look,
and
leave
just
the head
threw
on the
it at
spike.
us.
Do we comb the hair?
Seems to be really quaff heads.
Okay. But that is our story, and that is this episode of Dungeons and Deepdish, everybody. Nuance, thank you for being such a fantastic guest and telling such a fucking weird but awesome story with me. Please tell everybody where they can find you today.
Again, you can find me on Twitter at Shatterraven, Ravyn. Don't make fun of me. I was like 16 when I grabbed that in my 10-minute Wiccan phase. We've all been there.
It was only supposed to be 10 minutes? No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, see, I came of age in like the 90s, so I had Silver Ravenwolf, and I'm like, oh, this is so cool. Oh, she a bit racist. So, like, you can also find me here on Twitch. I'm at Booksomwench, BOOKSOMEWENCH. Yes, it's a pun. Don't at me. I mostly hate them. That one was clever. And please, if you haven't had a chance to, please check out Fast Times D&D. You can find us at Fast Times D&D, both on Twitter and also our website. We're all there. We have transcripts. We've had our season finale. Our Hex and Ween episode is going up on the 31st. I would really love it if y'all showed up, come into our Discord. It's a lot of fun.
Awesome. Like, I'm so excited about this. And everybody, I'm Noir. You can find me obviously here at the Noir Enigma on Twitch or on Twitter. In the next hour, you can find me on Roll20's official Twitch channel, where we'll be playing Burn Bright with James Introcaso, Daniel Kwan, Sam Lysius, and Kelly the Opera King. So that should be fun. I don't know what I'm doing ever, so it should be a good time. Thank you again for joining
before
me.
we go,
absolutely.
I just want to give a quick shout out to both. So there's my crew, who is at Persephoros. She's our GM. At Karamor, spelled with a 0. At Atomic Firebird, who's in charge of Make Believe, and also Elise, who's not on the internet. Don't at her, ignoring the fact that she does in fact have a Twitter. Also, I just want to say thank you to Chromatic Chimera, who was the very first my introduction to TTRPG Twitter and the very first stream role playing games I ever did. So we have a bond there that you didn't even realize, Noir. So I just want to say
Yeah,
thank you guys so much for being amazing.
absolutely.
So much love.
Nothing but love to Chromatic Chimera, to Abby, Puddin, Sam. You're all just lovely, lovely people, and it's very funny that you should mention that because Chromatic Chimera is live right now, and I can't think of anybody better to raid right now. So why don't we go over and
I
raid
mean, I think we
them?
gotta.
I'm trying to think of a good raid call. Uh, I'm gonna say, take your shoes off. It's gonna be a raid call because you don't come in
In
somebody's
my
house.
house.
You don't come in Allie's house all disrespectful, wearing shoes. Are you out of your rabbit ass mind? So with that, let's go ahead and show Chromatic Chimera some love. We should be doing that in the next 7 seconds. So everybody, take your shoes off. Love you. Goodbye.
Bye.
And that